Thanks for your company. It's Daybreak on the Rise News, and it's time for the press preview. First look at what's on the front pages as they arrive. We start off with our sister publication, This Day. On the front page, 2019 audit report, 178,459 firearms, ammunition missing from police armory. Blames anomaly on weak internal control system at the force headquarters. Right above that, it's war clearing goods at ports. Organized private sector tells the federal government. Above the nameplate, COVID-19, governors, other visitors to State House now to undergo tests. That's on page 10. And Olubadan's demise leaves huge void to fill. That's according to President Buhari.
Now the Punch this morning, budget, Northern Assembly faults Buhari, insists on 6,576 extra projects. According to the House spokesman, Northern Assembly has power to amend budget proposals. Lawmakers have no right to introduce projects. It is an anomaly. And also on the front page, Nigeria's inflation rate may be among the world's highest in 2022. That's according to the World Bank. And two Kaduna Baptist school students released after 189 days with bandits. Those stories and more on the front page of the Punch this morning.
Well, here's the front page of The Nation, leading with Ibadan mourns. Olubadan dies, buried. Buhari, governors, Tinubu, others pay tribute. Balogun to ascend throne. And above the nameplate here, a couple of stories. 2023, Jonathan meets coordinators. APC governors back single term. COVID-19 test for State House visitors. It's new rules at the presidency here in Nigeria as bandits kill 7 in Kaduna communities. Senate probes PPP arrays 200 million naira to foreign firms.
A quick look at the Tribune. Presidency, why Buhari signed 2022 budget despite insertion of 6,576 new schemes. And there's more, lots of headlines there. Bandits kill 7, kidnap 18 in Kaduna State. Ibadan stands still as the 41st Olubadan, Oba Saliu Adetunji, is buried. Fuel price, new taxes among economic issues to shape 2022. That's on page 6. And COVID-19 governors, ministers get mandatory rapid tests before meeting the president. There's a special report in the Tribune. Is Nigeria ready for global energy transition by 2025?
Now let's have a look at some of the international papers this morning, and the Times from the UK. Ministers confident new curbs not needed. Nothing in latest COVID data to back restrictions. And also a veteran tells Prince Andrew to step down from the Guards.
Well, the Daily Mail leads on a different story. The growing pressure on Mr. Johnson over soaring energy bills, that's its front page. The paper says backbenchers want the Prime Minister to scrap green taxes that account for a quarter of electricity bills and cost families as much as £200 a year.
A quick peep at the Eye newspaper. Prime Minister Boris Johnson to delay decision on new COVID restrictions.
And the Daily Telegraph this morning, backlash at masks in schools as cases ease. Conservative MPs call for rethink over effect on children as new infections decline. Also, bin collections cancelled by staff shortages. And also 1 hour prostate surgery could revolutionise treatment.
And the Guardian UK leads with merging of classes to cope with COVID staffing crisis. And that's according to head teachers in a statement released yesterday.
The Daily Express is packed. Boris holding his nerve as the NHS feels the strain. Queen's sadness. Monarch loses dear friend and trusted confidant. It's on page 11.
Well, for more on the press preview, let's now bring in Emmanuel Bello. Good morning to you, Emmanuel. Welcome to the show as always. Let's start with This Day newspaper, the main story from the 2019 audit report that says 178,459 firearms and ammunition missing from the police armory. They blame an anomaly on the weak internal control system at force headquarters. That's a lot of ammunition to go missing.
let me start by saying Happy New Year. This was my friends Dan. Well, yes, this is a very, very serious story. And starting the year, but practically the work day of the year, where this story is a good one for this day. And I think it's exclusive. I've not seen this story anywhere. It should be one of the most important stories today or of the day. Because there's been all these speculations and these fears about how do bandits actually get these firearms? And although the story is saying missing, there are people that will say no, they were actually either stolen or they were sold, or there has been a collusion. There's been fears in the past that there seems to be some kind of collusion between criminals and those who are holding on to these arms, legally, the security operatives. Of course, there have been denials up and down the aisle. People say no, we don't collude, we don't go. But a story like this, coming from an audit report, tells you, and this is not just newspaper speculations, or this is not just journalists doing their thing. This is something official. And look at just this number, Dan, like you pointed. It's just don't go missing. They don't have legs of their own. They can't walk out of their armory. So what's going on? So this is a very serious story. I don't think it should be left only to just reporting. This must be followed by very strong worded editorial too. And I'm sure it's the kind of story that we would like to stay on, not just gloss over it and do a one-off spin on it. So this is a story that is a very, very serious story. It borders on the crisis of security, borders on the crisis of collusion, on the integrity of the forces itself, the safety of the Nigerians, and everything that this government has always hold there or say about what they can do. Already, we had the president saying, give us 17 more in the next 17 months, we're going to get around all the crisis of security. There were people who doubted that and say it was just part of the kind of talk that this president's been saying in the last 7 years. So there not a lot of belief or some kind of faith in that. But now with a story like this, I think the federal government or the authorities should be more concerned about what is going on. Why are heads not rolling? Who is going to be held accountable? Do they actually go missing, or were they sold, or was there a collusion? Nigerians have always suspected and speculated this. This audit report seems to have given birth or strength to that kind of fear and that kind of reasoning.
Indeed. Well, let's look at The Nation, and here's the front page. It's leading with the Ibadan, the death of the first-class monarch in the ancient town of Ibadan, the Olu of Ibadan, and it's reporting that a replacement may be named this week. But let's look at, I don't know if you have a comment on the the monarch that has died, but there are some other interesting stories I want us to touch on the front page of The Nation. For instance, the 2023 polls. Former President Jonathan is meeting with coordinators. Are we seeing a comeback from him? A lot of names are being thrown in the ring these days. Emmanuel Bello.
No, well, Jonathan has always been in the news, especially when it comes to elections. He's seen as an ambassador for credible polls. He's the president that's easily conceded in his own election. So he's gained some ground as someone who's not just here in Nigeria but all over Africa as a peacemaker. Believes in as a modern day hero for democracy. So. This kind of roles are the roles that are well suited for him, considering what he's done in the past, and we see him doing that a lot of visits to the villa, picture ops of him with the president, talking very closely, and so this is not surprising that now he's seen to be playing a central role in the 2023 election. The Olubadan story is a huge one. Yeah, taking the front page of the Nation newspaper, I think, and all the papers too, considering the kind of monarch he was. Now there are stories about his life, the grass-to-grace stories that we're reading, and very interesting stories. Thank God that we don't have crisis, as I think one of the papers already mentioning a name in that direction. So it's a great story. I think all we can say is mouth what all the other big shots are saying, and praying for the repose of his soul as we celebrate his life.
Indeed. Emmanuel Bello, the Tribune, the federal government, the presidency, and the House of Assembly. Perhaps we'll be expecting a back and forth. It's about the budget and the National Assembly inserting 6,576 new schemes, and the presidency is faulting the National Assembly for inserting those projects. Meanwhile, a senior advocate of Nigeria is saying the lawmakers have no right to do it. The lawmakers are saying they have the right to do it. Who should we stand with?
Start with reporting the news and like we're doing and looking in depth into what's going on there. The presidency coming out to say, look, we're not on a war path with the National Assembly, and the National Assembly saying, well, we've got rights to do those insertion and all. It's an important story, and I think for many Nigerians, while the back and forth are going on, most Nigerians will be interested in how these projects, if they're going to touch the lives of people, if they're going to be implemented well, if the budget is going to make sense, if it's going to change the way things are done. Not so much of concern from Nigerians about this back and forth, but the presidency coming strongly saying that, look, this shouldn't be misconstrued. The National Assembly too, through its Senate president, saying that, look, it's normal for the executive and the legislative arm to have this kind of back and forth. But of course, inside that is also the issue of integrity and the crisis of implementing a budget, the types we've always seen around this time of the year. But I think for the president, this is very serious. This one of his major budgets, and a lot of people see it as a legacy budget for him, and one that he wants to actually see through to its implementation. So that will be the next battle now, how this goes. But for now, the presidency and the National Assembly seem to have reached some form of accord with the president allowing this to pass and saying that, look, well, if it's going to benefit the people, why not? With the National Assembly also saying that, well, we've got the right to do it. I think after that, really, our job then will be to monitor what's happening to this budget.
Now, Emmanuel, very quickly before you go, it's only the 3rd day of January, and already I'm bringing up the subject of Boris Johnson basically holding his nerve in the UK as NHS feels the strain, not bringing in any restrictions. But we even see now in Moscow, they're bringing in restrictions, and in other countries. Is this based on data, or is it because, quite frankly, he had such a mass rebellion in December that he basically politically wouldn't survive in his own party if he brought in the restrictions?
Well, yeah, it could be a combination of all of that, where politicians really fighting for his political life with elections in the corner. So it could be that, but it could be more too, yes. But the good thing, or the stories that we're reporting, is that there are better facts now out, better science, and better understanding of what we're dealing with. Probably some of these based on the science, on what we now know about the virus, what we now know about Omicron, what we now know about vaccinations, or the number of vaccines, jabs people have gotten. So some of this decision could be a whole lot of that. But again, yes, there could be also tied with issues of how to respond to the very people that you will be running to in one time to ask for their votes. So this could be that, but of course, by and large, I think those decisions are, tied to issues of new facts, emerging facts, what we now know about the virus, and the kind of steps taken to reduce the impact of the virus in our lives,
and
also
so much,
trying to find ways around the issue.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That's the much we can take this morning on Press Preview. See you again tomorrow.